Breathing fire as Aries dawns. The sun ignites new paths to spawn. The lotus blooms in cosmic sway. The stars align to light our way. Step forward, my love, feel the flame rise. Courage dances in the velvet skies. Blossom with the stars, dive deep within. Let the universe show our journeys begin.
Are you feeling the energy? Lotus Dawn here with Blossom with the Stars, true to the stars, sidereal astrology. And today, big news, everyone. The sun, which represents the soul, illumination, and light and life, has gone into the astrological sign of Aries. That is a huge shift as we have just spent over 47 days in the largest constellation, Pisces, which is a water sign. Water constellation signs are very much associated with emotion, intuition, dreams, imagination. I often call Pisces the sign the sun was just in, the sign of the womb, the sign of the uh, the pre-birth, so right before the beginning. Because today, you guys, the sun has entered Aries, which is the first astrological sign of the entire zodiacal wheel. Some might even say that today is the first day of the entire year, as this is the first sign in the astrological wheel, the beginning, if you will. And if you look at the sign of Aries, it's all about new beginnings. It's a fire sign. It emphasizes the characteristics of courage, leadership, taking action, and pulling the trigger. So if there is a decision, if there's something in your life that you have been wanting to take action on, you may find that the gusto, the courage, the energy to take that forward momentum and act may be coming your way. So I want to share a screen with you and I want to show you a picture of the sun in Aries because I know a lot of you are used to Western tropical astrology who says that today is the first day of Taurus. Well, that was true 2000 years ago, but because of something called precession, the sign that the sun is in goes back to the sign before it. And so I just want to show you what that looks like. So we're going to cruise on over to my favorite site, Stellarium. Such a powerful site because it shows you what the stars are actually doing, what the planets are actually doing up in the sky. So let's go check out the sun in the astrological sign of Aries. And some people ask me, why is astrology important? Why might you want to learn about astrology or get your astrology chart read? And the power of it to decipher and delineate and detect our purpose, our direction, our course of action, what the direction that's best suited for us to take. In my experience with the type of astrology I do is one of the most powerful tools I've ever found to assist us on mapping the road of life. And so if you have questions like, where am I headed? What's the best path for me? What should I do next with my life? What's my purpose? Then getting a True the Stars astrological reading is bar none one of the most powerful things you could do to answer those questions. Now, the truth is, those answers already live within you. And whatever I do on a session, I'm simply affirming or reminding or confirming through the lens of the astrology chart your purpose, your path, your direction. I just worked with a woman who's so awesome. And I was able to, through her astrological chart, I said, you might be meeting someone, you might be meeting a love interest soon. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, I receive a picture of her new partner that she just met. And she's like, oh my God, Lotus, it's amazing. I just went, wow, this chart is spot on. Then just recently, I worked with another woman who was having difficulty with having clarity in her life. And she said she actually looked at several astrologers to work with, and she finally decided to work with me. And we got on the call. And at the end of it, she said, "Oh my gosh, I just feel so excited. I feel so affirmed and confirmed that who I am, what I'm here for, what I'm doing is on track, it's aligned, and it resonates so completely and so thoroughly. I'm just ecstatic." I heard from her the other day and she said, "I'm still buzzing. I'm still excited from our session. And you're the one. I've chosen you. You're the astrologer I'm going to work with." I was like, "Oh my God, that is so cool." Because my biggest passion is to assist you all to connect to who you are from the stars and to allow that wisdom, that guidance, that map to direct you towards your highest outcome. So here we are. We're at Stellarium. If you have questions about what sign the sun is in or the moon or any planet, you can just go to stellarium.org and you get this free access to the sky. It's pretty cool. You can actually see the whole sky above, and we're going to zero in on the sun right here, and the sun just went into Aries. And so here's the constellation of Aries. And so those of you who follow tropical astrology may be going, "Lotus, but I thought the sun was in Taurus, right?" And so that was true, as I said, 2000 years ago when they first created the astrological chart. However, over time, that has shifted, that has changed, and that has changed because there's something called precession, which is the slight movement back of the stars that way every 2000 years. So about 1 degree every 72 years. So after 2000 years, today, when they say the sun is up here in Taurus, there's Taurus, it's actually one whole sign and then some back in the constellation of Aries. And so you might be asking, "Well, Lotus, what does that mean? Why is that valuable? Why is that important? Why do I want to know that the sun is in Aries?" Well, number one is that Aries is the very first sign in the zodiac. So there's 13 signs. I do 13 sign astrology, and Aries is the very first sign. And so Aries is associated with new beginnings. And a lot of times I think of astrology as very symbolic of the cycles of the year. Aries is the season of initiation, new ideas. It's the era of the seed, the intention being planted in the soil. And so, if you think about Aries energy or what Aries are really good at, they're really good at starting new things. They're really good at initiating new projects. They're very good at acting, being energetic, being leaders, being courageous. In ancient Greek mythology, Ares was the name, or ancient Roman astrology. Ares is known as the god of war. And so that's something we have to be careful of when the sun goes into Aries. So here are some of the challenges when the sun goes into Aries. So, pretty much with any fire sign, the emotional challenges that might be accentuated or come up more when the sun is in Aries: anger, irritation, frustration, combativeness. And so the advice, of course, is to be careful of your temper when the sun goes into Aries. Be careful of your head because every astrological sign is also associated with a part of the body. And so I often share with people, be careful of your heads, be careful of the sun. You might find your head gets overheated more easily. Um, Wear a hat. So when the sun enters Aries, it also gets hotter. And so it's a really good time of year to make sure you have that hat protecting your head because the head is the part of the body that Aries rules. It's actually my birthday coming up in 2 days on April 23rd. And for those of you who are born between April 21st and May 13th, you were born during the constellational sign of Aries. And Aries is ruled by the head. And so, whatever sign you are has a rulership, it's connected to a body part. And so, Aries connected to the head. That can mean that people with born during this time may have challenges with their head. They might tend to have head hitting their head more often, that kind of thing. And so the advice during this time is to be careful of your head, be careful of overheating, be careful of overthinking, be careful of, this is another big one, acting without thinking, because Aries is the energy of rushing in courageously like a warrior on a battlefield, ready to act, ready to move, ready to engage. And so the good news, the powerful news, the exciting news is if you've been sitting on the fence, if you have been holding back or procrastinating or not taking action towards some goal, dream, or desire, when the sun goes into Aries, that is fire energy. That is action energy. And we've had about, gosh, 9 things in Pisces, which is a water sign, over the last month. And so if you felt more dreamy or uh, intuitive and sensitive, internal, those are all Piscean energies. And we actually still have a ton of planets in Pisces. So while the sun has entered this sort of fiery, energetic, activating, going forwards type of energy, we still have many, many planets in Pisces, which means that we may still feel a bit internal. And so this is big news. This is big news. I want to show you the chart of the day today so that you can better tune into with me to the kaleidoscope or the puzzle that all of the planets, or the piece of art that all of the planets coming together create. They kind of create a picture. And so just like all of us are like threads in a tapestry, when we look at the planets and the signs that they are in, we can't just look at one, because they really weave a pattern or a symphony or a song. And so it's by looking at the entire pattern that we can really get a sense or an impression of what's happening energetically, and thus what might we be experiencing. Now, of course, we are at cause. The stars and the planets are simply a backdrop to our creative power. But I find it very interesting to study and to learn and to observe what the planets and the stars have to share with us. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen and check it all out. So here is the chart of the day. And wow, powerful. Right at the very top of the chart is something called the midheaven. And so the midheaven represents what's directly over our head right now. And this middle line that goes through the chart, this is known as a horizon line. And so it represents the ground. So the middle line of the chart that bisects it, this represents, or dissects it, this represents the ground. And so everything above the middle line in the upper half of the chart represents the sky. So this is actually what is up in the sky right now, April 21st at 7:07 p.m. or 7:05. And so right now at the midpoint, the high point of the sky, this represents the purpose of the day. What's the big purpose? Is in Cancer, which is the sign of home and family. And what makes this really, really interesting is that Mars, the planet named after the god of war. So if Aries, which the sun just went into, is named after the god of war, Mars is the planet associated with the god of war. So Mars is also the symbol for masculinity. It's the energy for taking action. It's the energy of doing, forward momentum. And so to have Mars conjunct the midheaven on the same day that the sun goes into Aries can mean we feel this forward momentum. On the inverse, we might feel more tired because the energy is shifting, kind of like shifting gears in a car. And so if we look down at the bottom of the chart, we see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things still in Pisces. Pisces is water, it's emotion, it's intuition, it's the dream world. And the sun was literally in Pisces from March 10th until today, April 21st. And so we've been in this watery, dreamy phase. Pisces is all about spirituality. It's all about religion. It's all about dreams. And we have Chiron, the wounded healer, in Pisces, and we've had it there the whole year, which can mean that things related to religion, trauma, and grief associated with religion. We have this conflict in the Middle East have been really activated over the last year. It can also mean that we are having to heal a lot of deep psychic awareness, intuition, our connection to our psychic abilities, our connection to our psychic gifts. And so it's a really quite a profound time in terms of the energetics. Oh, wow. Yeah, Carlo just shared that that his partner was actually attacked in social media late yesterday. Yes. So this is not I don't really like sharing this kind of stuff, right? But Mars is a very strong energy, and the sun just went into the sign ruled by Mars. And so there is the potential that aggression or anger or battle or conflict is something that could be coming up in your sphere. And so there's a couple of things with this that I sort of came to the awareness of today, which is that conflict is not always bad. And so there's a negative side to conflict and there's a positive side to conflict. So, for instance, if we're given a really bad speeding ticket, but we didn't do it and we didn't actually deserve to get that ticket, or let's say someone gives you a ticket for, something that you didn't do, you're innocent and you're given this ticket. Would it be better for you not to fight that ticket, not to create conflict, right? Or would it be better for you to take action, to take initiative, and to go in and stand up for yourself against a wrongdoing? And so that's kind of the balancing act with Aries going, with the sun going into Aries, is that it's going to empower us to feel braver and more courageous, to take action, to take initiative, to stand up for ourselves. But there is the potential that there could be more aggression. And what's really interesting, uh, we can learn more about Sun and Aries by looking at the planet that rules the sign of Aries. And the planet that rules the sign of Aries is Mars. And so Mars is in the sign of Cancer. And this is a very strange placement because Cancer is the sign of emotion. Okay. And it's a sign of the mom, and it's a sign of comfort and the home and coziness. And so when you have Mars in Cancer, there can be conflict in the family. There can be conflict between women. There can be conflict between one way you can look at Cancer is not only does it represent the homeland or the home or the family or nurturing, but it can also represent the home land, like the land of your country, the land of your home. And so when you have Mars there, it can mean that there's conflict in the homeland. And I look out at the news and social media, and gosh, I see a lot of conflict happening between different groups in the United States, the country where I live. And I think that's so interesting to look at the astrology and to see that mirroring there. And so, what is the advice? How do we find resolution? How do we, get past this? Well, we have to recognize that everyone has a point of view, everyone has a sort of expression or way of being or a way of expressing themselves. And so, how do we create peace through conflict? How do we have the courage to stand up for ourselves and the compassion to hear another person's point of view? And so, the advice I'd really give you with Sun going into Aries and the negative side being potentially more conflict between groups or between people is the importance of calming yourself down. And so I want to really invite you guys with the sun going into Aries energy, especially with Mars and Cancer, which can mean potentially challenges in with family groups, right? Differences of opinion between people who are close emotionally. And so the number one thing that I would recommend for all of you is to really think about when you get triggered or angry about something during the next couple months, and give yourself a count to 10 rule. I am going to count to 10 before I respond and before I react. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So something happens, you might feel that heat, and I want to invite you to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then pause and go, I'm going to take a deep breath in and out. And I'm going to ask myself, does me acting in this situation support harmony or does it create more conflict? Is me standing up for myself going to create a resolution, or is me standing up for myself going to just create more battle? And so Aries is always so good at taking action and so good at defending and fighting for a cause. But when the ruling planet is in the sign of the home and family, we have to be really aware that our actions can have long term effects, and we need to be really wise about how we use the energy of strength, courage, and warriorship. And I want to really invite you as the sun goes into Aries, as we get into this energy of taking action, to direct the energy of Aries, which wants to go forwards, it wants to act, it wants to be courageous. Take that energy and use it somewhere. Either start exercising more, get a hobby like martial arts or dance, something where you can move your body. Go on more walks because the energy is rising, it's igniting, and it's activating. And that means more opportunities, possibilities, and people are going to come in for you to initiate and start new things, new projects, new energy to go forwards. So it's very, very exciting. I wanted to tell you the challenges as well as the opportunities. And because we still have 9 things in Pisces, which is a lot of water, and now the sun has gone into fire, that's a lot of fire and water. And Mars, the planet that rules the sun in Aries, is also in water. So, water and fire elements are really playing out right now. Water is typically the divine feminine, fire, the divine masculine. And so, this is a time where there's a lot of polarity, black and white, good and bad, up and down. And so we have to find ways to create conversations between the two energies. What's one good way to harmonize fire and water? I'd love to hear in the chats. Please share. What do you think are good ways to harmonize fire and water? What do you think are good ways to help people deal with the energy of conflict, to deal with the energy of anger? What are good ways to help bring resolution to conflicts? These are really good questions to be asking right now. And the ideal goal, chief outcome that I see, I picture, I imagine is just like sometimes conflict has to happen between groups or people in order for resolution to happen. What if the conflict we see around us, the conflict we see in our world can be an opportunity, a bridge to healing, to peace, to resolution? And I want to just invite you all to join me in visualizing that for our world, for our planet, for our friends, for our family, for ourselves, that as we begin Sun in Aries, we are going towards greater resolution, greater peace, greater harmony. May all the challenges that we see around us and in our lives lead to our highest and best outcome, our highest and best offering, our highest and best joy. And since it's my birthday coming up April 23rd, super excited. And I want to celebrate with you all. I was thinking about what I could do that would be the most joyful thing to celebrate my birthday. And I would like to invite you to come to a special birthday party gathering on Zoom where I'm going to gift to the first 3 people who comment and ask to join us. I will gift you an opportunity to ask me a question about your astrological chart and a wish that you have, right? What type of thing do you want to make happen in your life? And I'll look at your chart and let you know what I see. So the first 3 people that comment get to go live and ask me on my birthday. We're going to do a live birthday party event. Get to ask me a question about your astrological chart. So comment below the first 3 people, you win that opportunity. Then I will also be doing some energy clearing work for all of you to help embrace the power of calling in peace for this planet. And I so look forward to seeing you 6 p.m. April 23rd for my live public birthday party event. Very excited. And I send you all much love. Thank you for joining me today. Aloha.
The lotus blooms in cosmic sway. The stars align to light our way. Step forward, my love, feel the flame rise. Courage dances in the velvet blossom with the stars, dive deep within. Let the universe show our journeys begin. The whispers hum in the night's chest, celestial winds to guide our quest. Petals fall, revealing more. Infinite dreams, they take the floor. Step bold, my love, feel the flame rise. Courage dances in the velvet skies. Blossom with the stars, dive deep within. Let the universe show our journeys begin. Whispers hum in the night's chest, celestial winds to guide our quest. Petals fall, revealing more. Infinite dreams, they take the floor. Step bold, my love, feel the flame rise. Courage dances in the velvet skies. Blossom with the stars, dive deep within. Let the universe show our journeys begin. Play the cello, let it weep, for secrets time has yet to keep. Ancient threads in cosmic verse, through Celtic tones they will disperse. Destiny calls with fiery flare, each breath entwined with solar air. Let daring hearts be unafraid, through starlit steps our fates are made.